All right, I have something I want to show you and see if I can get
Let's
you
see it.
a little cross stuff.
Okay.
So my other podcast, The Perfect Show, that
Which I
I
love,
haven't
yes.
done in a while, but
I've
I'm
listened
working
to
on.
every episode.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I did an episode on something called Park Golf, and what happened was someone contacted me, and then they distribute Park Golf stuff here in the United States, and said, "Can I send you? We have new clubs coming in. Can I send you one?" And so I haven't even looked at
For
this.
free?
This was sent to me, sent to the podcast. Yep.
Whoa.
A new Park Golf club, two
It
balls.
looks beautiful.
And,
Can I unwrap it or no? It has a beautiful
And a little bit of
Wow.
other gear, but it's from what is it from? The USA Park Golf Association.
Whoa.
USA Park Golf. So I haven't opened it. I wanted to wait and do this on mic because I was like, I'm gonna probably have a reaction.
It really
to this.
looks good. I mean, I can see through the plastic, I should say. It's covered in bubble plastic. Oh,
Wow. It's like
they sent you the hardest of core Park Golf clubs.
that is cool. It's like a Park Golf club with wood on the top, big like.
So
mallet
say if
shape.
people wanted to experiment with Park Golf, what would be the exact step by step?
I mean, you would need to get some sort of a club situation. I'm lucky I brought the other ones that I have. These are my old clubs. I've never had a new club in my life. This is really fantastic. But like I just take these out to a regular golf.
Okay, so you go to a
course,
regular golf course,
a nine hole like
Okay.
par 3.
and you bring
and then
the
I
right
ask
kind
them,
of
hey,
clubs.
can I use this on, I have to explain what it is.
Yeah,
And they've always been fascinated, been like, oh, okay, the 2 times I've done it. So
but you just hit the balls in the holes, just like golf.
just hit the ball in the hole,
But you
just like golf.
use-
It's just a much larger ball. This is what
Oh, it's like
you're
a
dealing
big
with.
wicker.
You
You,
can
know
open
what
that
this
up.
is? Oh, they're heavy.
they're kind of like croquet type lacrosse balls. I mean, they're
You know what this is? This is the pickleball of golf. That's
probably
how it should
is.
be marketed. Because it's one. You only need like one club, right? You don't need like 20 clubs, like
Yeah.
And then the ball's way bigger, and it's easier to do. Right? It's easier than golf.
I think
Does
I mean, it has challenges too, but probably it has
Sure.
to be,
Well,
right?
pickleball has challenges too, but pickleball is easier than tennis.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I bet so.
I think this is the pickleball of golf. This could become a really big thing.
It's really
did you hear
fun.
that, everybody? Did you hear that clock?
It's
That's
such
what
a
it's all
satisfying
about.
thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
sometime I'll take you out and we'll play.
Yes, I am
Uh,
totally. I've
when
never
the-
played regular golf, so this would be.
I had never played regular golf either before, and I played much park golf, and it's super fun. Have you played mini golf?
Yeah, of course.
Then you're good.
So this is like somewhere between mini golf. So
I
the
think it's
same
in
way
the
that
between.
like there's table tennis, and then there's pickleball.
Right.
There's like mini golf, and then
Park golf.
park golf.
Okay.
Dude, I think
I'd be
this.
okay with that.
Have you seen the speed at which
Pickleball
pickleball
is-
has exploded?
It's nuts.
It's crazy. There's an entire pickleball area of Golden Gate Park now with like 20 or 16 courts.
I got an email that they changed this whole Bladium indoor soccer space
Into
to
just
like
pickleball.
indoor pickleball. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Pickleball space in
It's
Alameda.
amazing. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think it's partly the aging of the population, right? Yeah.
Well,
Older
okay.
people love pickleball too.
Well, I was just gonna.
but
I
this could be
wanted to
great.
record this for this because also I'm gonna reuse this for the Perfect Show
Yes.
later when I do an update on what
Yes,
the
I love
golf
this. We have to.
situation.
We should go play pickleball.
we definitely need to
Yeah,
go.
that'd be great.
Play some park
I
golf.
feel like some edibles might be involved too.
That'd be fun. I'm not opposed.
San Francisco, everyone.
I
It's
like all
California.
form of eating
It's
things.
free. It's legal. Okay, should I do a solution?
You should do a
Okay,
solution.
do you know we're coming up on Yuletide.
The Christmas time.
Yes.
No, is that
Christmas
different?
time.
The Yuletide is different than
No,
Christmas.
it's a word for Christmas time.
Okay.
Okay, but
All right.
but do you know its heritage? Yuletide.
Yule log.
Yeah, Yule logs, right?
Yule
All-
Brenner.
All
the-
related.
from The King and I.
Yes, Yule. I didn't think of that.
The that's it. That's the end of my Yule.
That's Yule's.
I'm tapped out.
You'll regret
Oh no!
this.
Oh no! You got to do that in the Crypt Keeper
Oh,
voice.
God.
You'll regret not knowing more Yule references.
Where does Yuletide come from?
Yeah. Okay. So the solution for today is we should abandon the Julian calendar
Okay.
and we should adopt the Norse calendar.
Julian calendar is our
the one we
current
have now.
calendar, 12 months.
Julius Caesar invented it.
All right.
It's based on Egyptian calendars. And that's why we have like June, which is for, July is Julius, and August is Augustus, like emperors.
Octavius.
October is Octavius? No.
Is it?
I don't.
Dr. Octopus.
Is it? It's Dr. Octopus, yeah. It's Dr. Octopus month, yeah. But yeah, so it's a good calendar. There's great things about it. It's a solar calendar. That's its key feature. Okay. Key feature of the Julian calendar, solar.
Okay.
Right? So the solar. So in
then
January
how come we
1st,
have to fix it twice a year with daylight savings time?
No, that's a different thing.
Oh,
it's not fixing the calendar. That's just making it so you have more sunlight at certain times of day that people have decided is optimal or socially optimal.
We're tricking it, our brains.
It doesn't do anything to the calendar.
Yeah.
But we do have to fix it with leap year, but you have to have some kind of leap year built into any calendar because the Earth's rotation around the sun is a quarter. It's 356 and a quarter days.
Yeah.
So you have to do something. If you're going to do a solar calendar, you have to do something for leap year.
So the Egyptians figured that out.
Yeah, they were they were the sun god people.
Did the Norse people already also figure out the quarter day?
Well, let's
What's
let's
going on
talk
with the
about
Norse calendar?
let's talk about lunar calendars first.
Let's talk about lunar
So the
calendars.
other major calendars are lunar, Chinese, Jewish, Muslim, all lunar calendars
based around the phases of the moon.
Yeah. So they're like, what month are we in? And it's just like the month is the moon. It's each month is 28 days.
Okay.
And it goes around and around and around like a spiral. And then when you get to the whatever, the month, you get to the end of the lunar year, then you start a new lunar year, and it's a different time compared to the solar calendar, it's a different day every year.
Right. But every month is the same number of days?
But every month is the same number of days.
All right, I'm sold. That's easy.
Yeah, exactly. and every day it corresponds directly to the lunar cycle. So if it's the 14th day of the month, you look up, it's going to be half moon or whatever, new moon. It's going to be one of the direct quarter phases of the moon.
Okay.
And then when you get to the new month, it's black. It's a new moon or whatever.
Moon?
Yeah, or whatever you put. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do full moon on the first. I don't know. Depends.
Yeah, whatever. But
it'll be on the cycle of the
you
moons.
can know what the moon's going to be that
Right.
night based on what day of the month it is without having to check.
But you have your new year is like a different day based on the Julian calendar every month, every year, and
Right.
it's kind of weird. Okay, here comes the Norse calendar. It is both a lunar and a solar calendar at once.
How?
Yule.
Okay.
Yule is an extra month that is a different length every year, a little bit.
Okay.
And it is the difference between the solar and lunar new year.
Oh.
And so every year, the lunar new year ends, and then you have this extra month called Yule.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Yule ends, it's the beginning of the next year. So there's this time where it's like between. It's almost as if, when you're at New York, you're in New York, and it's like 10, 9, 8. That time is like 12 days.
10, 9. No, wait,
slow down.
We'll meet here tomorrow. And
Tomorrow,
we'll say 8, okay?
let's say 8. Yeah, and then the next day say that.
Yeah,
and then
don't get ahead of us.
So it syncs up the solar and the lunar New Year's.
Okay.
So
it works by being a different length every year, but it just kind of fills in whatever that gap is.
It fills in whatever.
Does it have a maximum number of length?
I think it's like 8 to 14 days. It's it's like less.
But
than
within that amount of time,
month.
it's going to cover every scenario.
Yes. Okay, and then during that time in the Norse, so the Norse people figured this out. They recognized, they understood that the sun was going around, and they understood that the moon was going around, and they were like, we have to reconcile these two. So they did it.
Okay,
it's pretty cool.
Smart.
It's the only calendar I know
Vikings?
that does that. Yeah, smart Vikings.
Okay.
So here's the cool thing, though. I think it has two benefits that I think make it so that we should totally adopt it. Okay.
What's this?
The one benefit is, like you said, every month has the same number of days, except for Yule, which is just Yule is like crazy time.
Yeah, there's just going to be everyone.
So Yule is all parties, no work, Yule. And it's just like everyone's like, it's Yule. We're not doing anything.
And the Yule tide is that time.
Yeah, the Yule tide
beginning Yule to end Yule.
Yeah.
Okay.
And during that time, you burn the Yule log if you want,
which is just a regular
huge log.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
not doesn't have any
You
special.
basically cut down a huge tree and you put the front end of it into a bonfire,
to,
and
like,
then you just
sprinkle
feed the bonfire.
cinnamon or
Yeah, put some sprinkles.
marshmallows on
Yeah,
top of the log for
yeah.
you.
Heat some chocolate over it. You know,
Uh-huh.
make some s'mores over the Yule log.
Yule log.
You don't have to. I mean, Yule log is. I mean, that was the Norse people. You know, they like their bonfires. You know,
Of course.
so we don't have to do.
It's cold
Yule
up
logs.
there.
Yeah,
You
it's
gotta
cold,
stay warm.
right? Put up some big bonfires, but yeah. So Yule log is not necessary, but Yule, Yule tide. So that's one benefit is months are all the same thing. The other benefit is the months are lined up with the moon. I think that our society is pretty like, we're pretty like alienated from nature.
Yeah.
And the more we do in terms of development seems to alienate us further from nature.
Right.
I think we need to bring our culture, we need to make big moves. Like we need to make big, decisive changes to bring our culture more in sync with nature.
You're saying base our calendar on like nature, not on some dude who just got stabbed in the back when he was
Yeah, exactly.
unpopular.
Oh, he's very, yeah.
Et tu, Brute.
Brute.
That's
That's
it.
right.
That's it.
On
We-
the Ides of March, which Ides, I don't even know what Ides are. I think my favorite quote from Julius Caesar, the Shakespeare play, is
Surround me with fat men.
I want. That's what Julius Caesar says. He's like, I like fat men because skinny men are ambitious, like they're hungry.
Oh, I thought he meant
power.
as like a shield, a physical shield in case he was going to get stabbed.
Yes.
He's like, that gives me more, like physically more protection.
That's right. That's right.
So surround me with fat men. And they were like, oh, we're going to leave this back part open. He's like, no. Then Brute comes
Okay,
up.
so this is important. The Ides. Okay, so there were three ancient markers for dates in relation to lunar phases.
Ides is the middle of the month, but that's not
Yeah,
a lunar
so
month.
calends, nons, nones, and Ides were the ancient markers used for reference dates in relation to lunar phases. The Ides simply refers to the first full moon of a given month,
Oh,
which usually fell between the 13th and the 15th. So they were, so they did have somewhat lunar style going on. I mean, by the time he was killed, he might not have already implemented the calendar.
oh,
I think
that's
it was
true.
named
right?
after him.
It certainly wouldn't have had months named after him.
before he died.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
and then he was
subsequent
killed.
emperors.
Probably wasn't super popular.
So
at the
what kind of
moment
calendar
he was being killed.
was Julius Caesar using a lunar calendar then?
I don't know. Yeah, what is this Roman calendar? Before
Is this a big do as I
Julius.
say, not as I do? Is that what we're dealing with here? We have to
think
deal
so.
with leap year and remembering, is this 31 days or 30 days or are we the 28th day?
Okay, this makes no sense. The calendar consisted of 10 months in a year of 304
This is
days.
the metric system.
The Romans
Using the metric
No,
calendar.
this gets crazier. The Romans seem to have ignored the remaining 61 days, which fell in the middle of winter.
They're just like, those aren't, they're like,
They just
hey,
were like,
I'll see you tomorrow. They're like, there's no tomorrow.
They're like, wait
That's not
61 days. It's so cold.
Nothing
Everyone
happens
just stays
until
in their house.
it gets warm again.
It's not even a thing.
It's like when you get caught and you freeze and you just hope you don't get seen. It's like, we're going to stop now and hope that the sun comes back around and makes things warm again. We figured we did something to make it cold and we're sorry, but we're not going to move. And when you make it warm again, then we'll start moving again.
So there were different months. Martius, Aprilis, Maius was already there. Junius for Juno, the goddess.
Okay.
Quintilis, Sextilis. Oh, we got a little sexy month.
Whoa.
September, October, November, December. So those were all there from.
Those
way
were just
before.
as is?
Yeah, those were from way before. I think Julius Caesar was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna get those 60 days back. We're gonna bring 2 more months in."
Yeah. He's like,
Julius
why are we doing
Augustus?
Why are we doing a bunch of 30-ish day months?
and then
And then we run out of months, but we still have a bunch of days left. Maybe that was his big contributor. He was just like, hey guys, maybe like redo that math like one time.
just
Check
add
it out.
2 months. We're losing
Seems to
61
me like,
days.
yeah, it seems to me like we have a simple solution here. They're like, whoa, oh man, look at genius over here, Mr. Good. It's like Goodwill Hunting
Yeah.
on their chalkboard. One night, all the really smart people went to bed, and Julius Caesar just couldn't sleep, so he's wandering around his big bed. He goes, "Oh, what's this up here?" And he like runs it off, and they're like, "Get it, hey boy, get out of there,
Get out of there.
run away!" He's like, "This looks,
Oh
Is this-
my
it's-
god.
it's correct.
He's
it might."
done it.
They scramble to all their scrolls.
But yeah, so anyways, our
When in
calendar
Rome.
our calendar is synced up with nature to some extent with the sun. But I think it's really like have you ever been like happy, some like witch or warlock type person is like
What?
happy
No.
equinox, and you're like
Oh, sure.
I sort of in a very like liminal way like understand that like the days are getting longer, the days are getting shorter. So you kind of understand like we're sort of like, oh, it's fall, so like the days are getting longer.
That's also the solstice situation.
But yeah,
right?
exactly, right.
Celebrating solstice
Right.
is
But if
vernal
every day you looked up at night
equinox.
and the moon was like the phase that lined up with the day it was, I think that just brings us like
clockwork.
closer to nature. Yeah. And then Yule would be a blast. It would just be a total blast. It would just be like everybody takes off like whatever. This year it's 8 days. Next year it's 12 days. Who knows? And it's just fun.
We'd find out what Yule's going to be, and then people would like book cruises, Caribbean Yule cruises.
Yule cruises.
Mm-hmm.
Ye old cruises.
Because everything shuts down. We would,
Or you'd have to
finally
get
catch
your
up to-
log. There'd be a huge line for logs.
Now, what countries would participate? Would this just be like America?
So now you're talking about. So I don't want to talk about end state. I want to
How
talk
do
about
you-
implementation.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you
Okay.
even start a new It's not like Rome where you're like, we are 1/3 plus of the world or whatever.
Yep.
How do you even start a new calendar? And you would have to get a lot of people to adopt it.
First, you build an app,
First, you build an app, of course.
right? So you build a Norse calendar app.
Okay.
You could I would just call it the modern calendar. Because I think it's a more sophisticated
Call it the-
calendar
call
than
it
the existing one.
The better calendar.
The better calendar, right? The superior calendar.
The not lame calendar. And then it just kind of implies we're like, oh, we didn't say anything.
We didn't say.
I'm just saying we're the not lame calendar. No, but the Norse
If
calendar.
you conclude that your calendar is lame, that is on you.
I mean, infer whatever you need to infer.
Yeah.
I didn't say, I said what I said.
I kind of dropped into a Ron Burgundy there. If you do that, it's on you.
Is Norse calendar the marketing that you would get people hooked with?
No, I
because
wouldn't
of
do
the
Norse
Viking
calendar.
thing?
I would call it like the better calendar, the modern calendar, or
Okay.
I'd call it like the solar lunar calendar or something. To get like, I think it would be good to get like kind of
Moon.
woo woo people on board, new age people. Because moon like
New moon
like menstruation,
calendar.
women's menstruation goes in cycle with the moon. Wouldn't it be great if we got rid of our patriarchal calendar?
We have an entire
Right, we have
society of people aware of when to be most fearful of werewolves.
Absolutely, you better
They know.
14th of the month. You better get the hell out of there.
Yeah, but they're like, it's the 27th. I'm not even worried, bro. There's no worries.
Yeah, there's no
Don't-
not Wolverines. Sorry, werewolves. Yeah, so I think you could get like new agey people on board and stuff because it'd be like in cycle with the moon, and then you could also get. I think it'd be easy to get both sides. You could get solar calendar people on board, and you could get lunar calendar people on board because it kind of is both.
Right. If you put a science bent on the lunar calendar gets the woo woo people, right? Already. And if you can put a science bent on it, like how you could sell the metric system, you're like, it just makes more sense. You know what I mean? Like
I would never do that. I'm pro imperial system.
What?
I'm anti metric system. I think the way the Americans do it is the best, where you have science done in metric.
Is this
I'm
a bit?
100% certain.
Wait.
I am 100% honest.
You
and
like
true.
the English
Yes.
system better than the metric?
Absolutely.
12 of these into one of this,
Yes.
3 of those into 4 of these,
Yes. Perfect.
instead of just base 10?
Mm-hmm.
What?
I had a German man explain why.
Why?
One reason why. There's many reasons
Do
why.
you measure your weight in stone?
Yeah, I'm about 18 stone. That's cool.
Kilograms.
That's
what?
cool. No,
How
I
are-
hate that. No,
tell
all
me
that's
why.
bad.
Please
Okay,
do this.
so there's
Sidebar, please.
sidebar. There's multiple reasons. One reason is fractions.
How
What's
so?
1/3 of 10, Scott? What's 1/3 of 10?
3.3 repeating.
Yeah, it's an irrational number.
That's not my fault.
I know, but the point is, guess what's 1/3 of 12?
4.
Yeah, irrational
I didn't
number.
have to guess,
a
by
natural,
the way. I didn't have to, that wasn't a guess, by the way. That was I know it.
That's good.
No, I just
Sometimes I
wanted to-
think 3
I just wanted to
intuitively.
establish I wasn't a guess.
then
You
it's
said guess,
4.
but I didn't. I knew that.
Did
one.
I say guess? What is that? Now guess what 2 + 2 is.
Okay, I already know this one as well as 4.
Yeah. So this is what a German guy who was a PhD.
So
in
that's why we
engineering
use 12. We use it so that we can split things
goes
in 3.
into things better. Yeah.
Get another friend. Who needs just
No,
stop
this
splitting
was
things
this
in
was
three.
a PhD in engineering from Germany, and he said absolutely the British system's better because you can do fractions better. So you can do like a wrench that's a quarter, a third. Your wrenches can be like perfect.
But
like
we have
fractions.
machines that can store irrational numbers now. We don't have to worry about this.
No, bad news bears.
So it's just for a third,
Fractions,
for 1/3.
divisions of things. Yeah. Okay. The other reason is this is the reason he said that one. I don't. Okay, I'll trust him. He has a PhD. But
So what's a third of an inch?
1/3 of an inch. 1/3.
How do you measure that on a normal ruler?
1/3.
They give you a quarter. They give you eighths and sixteenths.
Yep.
Where do you get to a third?
You got to do a quarter of it. That's you got to do.
Just bump it up to a quarter.
Yeah, you got to bump it up to a quarter.
Sorry,
Okay. Anyways, you can fight with this German man. I have no dog in
I
that
would
fight.
love to fight with this
Okay,
German man. He's probably
so,
older than
yeah.
I am by far
You
now.
could just punch him,
I could probably just like pull the rug,
take him out.
trick him into standing on a rug, and then like pretend like I'm going to tie my shoe, and then
Whoop.
yeah, pull it out from
Yeah.
under him.
Or
That's
maybe
the
you
move.
just like do the pull and he would just wouldn't move. It'd be like when you pull out a tablecloth and everything stays on the table. That's
It's
probably
like,
what happened.
He's like, I've got these slick European shoes exactly for that
that's
reason.
right.
Just he slides.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, naughty.
Nice work.
Try to pull a rug
Everyone
out from.
applause. Yeah.
Now it's Russian. I'm
Yeah.
like, you
It
tried to
turns
pull
into
rug.
Russian.
You tried to pull rug from me?
to pull rug from me? From Moscovich?
My shoe's very slick. It's not possible.
Yes. So the other reason, this is the reason I'm convinced to use the British system, is it's human scale. This is the other thing we need to do with our society. Is make
that's
it more
why it's so
human
stupid.
scale.
It was like an inch is based on the king's thumb or whatever,
Well,
right?
I just like it especially for fluids. Like a cup is like how much you want to hold in your hand and drink. Like
you
if
don't
you
know
go
how
like
much I
this,
want to hold in my
if
hand.
you want
and
to go
drink.
like if you go like make a cylinder with your hand, that's one cup. That's good. That's how much. That's like what nature wants you to be able to drink is like one handful of anything.
huh?
And so a cup is like a very reasonable amount for humans. It's human scaled. And then the same thing for
That's
a
400
pint.
mils, 400
pint.
milliliters.
No. A pint is what you want to drink for like if you're going to sit down and have any kind of like a beer or like a cup of water, a pint is what you want, 2 cups. And if you're like, oh, I want 357 milliliters, I'm like, that's exactly like that's not right. You want one.
You
pint.
do have a point with the liquid stuff, but it's just because metric hasn't like there's no kiloliter, right? That's not a common thing. There's
a kiloliter
kilogram.
would be 1,000 liters.
Oh wait,
A liter is 1,000 milliliters.
Oh, so no, we didn't. Then you do. You use 2-liter bottles. We use liters all the time.
Gallon's better though,
A gallon
A
of
gallon
milk
is
versus
better.
a 2-liter.
because a
of
gallon
soda.
is like as much as you want to carry in one hand. You would never want to carry more than a gallon, or unless you could be like, I can carry more.
What about?
It's 22 pounds.
What a weird.
a
I can't even
perfect
attack
size.
that
It's
statement
the perfect
because
size.
it's so impervious to like. It's so amorphous.
It's human scaled.
You're
I
like a
think it's-
gallon is the exact amount you would want to carry unless you want to carry more, or if you don't want to carry less. And I'm like, well, what a puzzle box you made. I can't find my way in. I'm trying. I know there's something wrong. I know there's something wrong with your reasoning, but I cannot find a way in.
That's right. That's right. Anyways, maybe it's just crazy,
Okay,
but
no,
I do
you're
like
telling
it.
me
I
that's
like it.
interesting. I
like
didn't even think
I
about
like
it from the third.
Yeah.
I'd always been like
Fractions.
yeah, man, metric. We should all be on the metric system because it's better.
No. Metric system works for some things great. Tens. It's good for science. But
It's good
no, it's
for
good
distance.
It's good
I mean,
for distance. No, a kilometer. How far is a kilometer?
how many?
Who
how
wants
many
to go
inches,
1 kilometer?
How many
Nobody.
feet are in a mile?
Also, a kilometer is totally irrational. They just thought that the Earth was 40,000. They thought the entire circumference of the
course.
Earth was 40,000
Sure.
kilometers. They just thought
Oh,
that's
they
what
did?
it was. They were like, let's take,
It's a
how do
little
we
bit-
pick the
little bit bigger,
distance?
right?
So they were like, oh, well, how about 40,000 chunks of the circumference of the Earth? That's what the French revolutionaries who came up with the
We'll
metric
split it
system
into
said.
radian. Okay.
Yeah, why didn't they just do like 50,000? Or why didn't they do 30,000? They
But
just picked
A
40.
kilometer
probably
being
biblical.
1,000 meters makes so much more sense than a mile being 5,280
That is
feet.
true.
You know what I mean?
You have found the absolute weakest point of the British system.
But
yeah.
people still say mileage, and they still use miles per hour
Yes.
in a lot of places, even when they're using
I
kilometers.
think
It's
mile.
weird.
I think we should readjust the mile to be to be a little smaller.
We could do the mile. We could
I
lose
think the mile
We
could
can
be.
keep
I think the mile should be 1,000.
12 inches in a foot, but keep
to
but like
1,000
start
yards.
switching up
because it's called the mile,
Yeah.
which is the melee, the 1,000 steps.
Sure.
That's supposed to be the 1,000 legionnaire
1,000
steps.
yards would be 3,000 feet. So mile becomes roughly
Yeah,
a little bit over half what
like
it
a
is.
kilometer.
Uh-huh.
It would become a kilometer.
And you can split 3,000
That's what
by
it would be.
3, so you have your whole third situation that
yeah,
you love.
Yeah. Oh, you do 3,000 feet. Yeah. Yeah, these are great points. Also, a different solution. But yeah, so we are talking about weights and measures. I mean, we're talking about the calendar.
I
so
just
why not
wanted
change
to
other
know.
measures?
Yeah, I wanted to know about your metric system
I
stance.
do like the liquids though. I will stand by the liquids forever. I want a pint of beer. I want a cup of flour. I want I want a gallon of milk. But the Yule stuff, I think, is a win. Brings us closer to nature. Gives us all 10 days off during Christmas time, like everybody, and it's a secular holiday because it's based on the sun and the moon. It's not like it's Christmas or Hanukkah.
Yeah,
No,
but
it just gets us away from all of that.
some people see the idea of promoting a secular holiday as an attack on Christmas. Have you heard of this?
Yeah. Happy
Are
holidays.
you
is like
attacking?
an
Are
attack.
you attacking Christmas with your calendar?
I mean, I don't even know if the 25th of June on a solar calendar would always fall on Yule. Actually,
Wait, would
I
June
don't
be
think
the
it would
middle of
always-
Yule?
I don't.
Wait,
No,
would-
no. It would be around like the New Year's time,
Oh,
but
okay.
it would. I don't know the exact.
You said 25th of June. I was like, what?
Oh, sorry, January is what I meant.
Okay.
So let's see what Yule time. Okay, so Yule for the 20.
Yeah, tell me what's
23.
Yule 24.
Oh wait, shoot,
23,
I did
24.
23. I need 22 for this year, right?
This year's 23.
Okay, so this year Yule is from December 21st to January 1st.
Perfect.
Perfect. So that's what I'm saying. It's perfect.
The places are mostly shut down that time anyway, except
I
if you
know,
need to
I know.
do some emergency getting.
I
and-
know. So this would formalize that time for everyone is holiday.
Cool.
And it would sync up all the moon and the sun, and it would be
I'm in favor.
fun.
I'm
I
not-
know. It's
I
a
don't
great
like
thing.
somebody just in my 30s, somebody taught me the trick. Have you seen the trick of
knuckles
the
thing?
knuckles
Yeah,
thing to
yeah.
know the long month, short month, long month, short month? It's like goes up and down your knuckles. I can't even remember how it goes now, but it was in my 30s and I was like, oh, okay. Because I always kind of struggle with some of them.
You can just do it on one hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You don't have to do 2
Yeah.
because 2 is the same as 1.
I mean, it's just some of the middle month, you're like, this is 30, 31.
Yeah, I
you
don't
know, you
remember,
like
yeah.
doubt yourself in the middle.
I
of
always
it.
count my knuckles. Just
It's like
that.
how some words that I've been spelling forever, I'll be writing it and I'll be like, does it have 2 L's in it? Does it have 1 L in it?
Yeah.
Like,
How many
wanna
owls
double
are
up-
in that
I want to
word?
double up the letters in the middle.
You know, yeah. I never know how many days are in a month. That's why this would be better.
This would be better.
Yeah,
Then every month would be
everyone can
good.
put their knuckles away,
Exactly. We
except
want
for when they're
non-violence.
unless they're in a fight in Boston.
Then they have to bring their knuckles
Bring your
out, but
knuckles out.
only
Get your knuckles out.
only in that only in the
Irish
the fighting
style.
Irish style where it's like underhand.
Yeah.
You want both knuckles pointing up and one arm extended out significantly farther than the other.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I've seen that. So it looks like actually when I'm looking at like a Yule like calendar thing,
Yeah.
it's actually always December 1st to January 1st,
Okay.
which I don't really.
It falls
I
within
don't think
that
that's
time.
actually true from like a purely. I would
Well,
want to follow exactly.
Obviously, you would want it to stop at the beginning of the new year so that it
Maybe it would always be the same because you're
'cause they want
resetting
you to
it
reset
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
They want to restart on
Yeah.
January 1.
yeah. But January 1 isn't
Always
always.
the lunar year.
But I guess it is always if you're resetting it to be.
Man, we would hire
always.
calendar scientists
Yeah, some
who would
kind
be
of calendar
genius.
scientist.
We would get the top people in the calendar science of Harvard, division of Harvard. We'd recruit them. We'd hire them out, the PhDs in calendar, and we would let them tell it.
I love this idea. I would just be so happy if we switched our. We could keep the month names the same as the Julian calendar because everyone's used to that. But we just shift it and then we add the month Yule.
I mean, if
We
you
call
just
it
change
Yule.
the phones, I mean, everyone will go with what their phone
Oh, right,
says
right.
anyway.
So we make an app. That's the first step.
Okay,
so
make an
first
app.
make an app,
Yeah.
and then you people hear this episode, they download the app, and then they can be like looking at it, and it can tell them what day it is, and then people can just start to celebrate Yule.
Yeah.
So they can say to people, "Oh, that's Yule, so like I'm going to be off." and people can be like, oh, instead of saying like, oh, it's the holiday, and tiptoeing around like, oh, it's Hanukkah.
It's Yule. I'm gonna be off, and they're like,
you just say
what?
It's Yule. The president of the United States could be like, take Yule off,
what are
because it's secular. It's a totally secular idea. It's just like the sun and the moon are out of joint for 10 days every year, so I don't work. Sorry, like. That's a fun secular way to make that time of year special.
You get the tweens. You make an ad campaign saying Yule rules.
Yule rules,
and you
that's a good one.
You make it like a really like a cool. You have somebody with a backwards hat and sunglasses saying it, and then
or it's the Crypt Keeper and it says
"You'll be sorry."
I wish the Crypt Keeper had a more soothing voice. Like if he was just like
oh no, there is the Yule Keeper headspace.
No, but
episodes. Have you heard those?
Now I'm breathing.
I'm just imagining the Crypt Keeper pops up. He looks the same way, right?
Yeah.
But he's just like, hey everybody, how you doing? How's everybody doing tonight?
Yeah.
I have some jokes for you. Don't worry about that.
Just
but
chill.
I'm not going to like freak anyone out or get anyone's ears. Like,
why would I do that weird stuff that I always did before?
Hey there, big boy. Nice to see you. Good. Thanks for dropping by my crypt.
That's right. Hey, would he do puns still? But just
definitely he would do puns.
He would deliver them.
I can't think of any like
voice.
right off the feel so forced. I mean, that's what puns are. But they had the benefit of writers writing them.
I can have
puns.
multiple voices because there's more ways to skin a cat.
You might
doesn't
say,
really work without the.
You might say
voice.
he lost his head.
Yeah, that's what he always says.
He becomes William Shatner.
He lost his head. Yeah, Crypt Keeper is not a great character, really.
I have a friend who really loves him.
Well, ironically, everyone loves him.
I don't know.
He's kooky as heck.
He's got a very specific energy. I didn't watch a lot. I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of those Tales from the Crypt because it was on HBO. I didn't have cable, and it was like would they show nudity?
I think they'd show a boob every now and then.
Yeah, I would have. My parents would have been,
or cleavage at least.
Would have tried to throw themselves in front of the screen like no.
Yeah,
don't.
The Americans so prude.
It's true. When I went to Japan, there was like
they didn't care.
They did.
Yeah.
It was there was like a certain channels after certain hours would have certain restrictions that were not, but like top was not a situation.
Yeah.
Although, no, I'm admitting maybe too much.
No, fine,
watching
whatever.
TV after hours in Japan.
I mean, I think it's culturally relevant to point out that a place that has a murder rate of almost 0% allows people to look at naked versions of other human beings. And our country has how many tens of thousands of people killed by gun violence and murders every year, and we're like, oh my god, don't show a nipple.
Well, the Puritan origins of our country.
Yeah.
And then it's hilarious to me, having lived in other places where like people here are just like, how every country is like this, and you're like, oh no. This one has a weird like this
ours.
Is
when
you go to other countries and you're like, hey, how you guys should be ashamed of this or like feel bad about yourselves because of that. And they're like, what?
What the hell
are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That's
Why?
what really struck me in Germany because they're like, you meet someone who's like a super uptight like banker, who like, is just like perfectly groomed and like, and so then in America you assume this person has enormous bodily shame and like extreme puritanism that goes along. You think of that as going along.
Yeah, there's like a whole package,
right? A high conscientiousness kind of person. But then this same person in Germany just like drops trow and just like walks around a park in a city, like, and then they're just like,
what?
This is totally.
It sounds like a specific person.
No, this is totally normal in Germany. It's called freie Körperkultur. It means free body culture.
Wait, it's totally normal for all the uptight dudes to then just drop trow and walk around at a certain.
No big deal. They're just like totally normal.
That actually does sound like a big
this
deal.
would just be a nice thing to do. This is what I'm doing. I'm just standing around naked in a park.
Maybe I'm too Puritan.
Whatever.
That sounds like some sort of a sex crime.
I know, right? It is. But in Germany, it's totally normal.
They just do this like once a month, or is it?
Did I tell you this one? I think I told this
I
on the
feel like I would
podcast
not
before.
want
Where I was
people
at,
to do that.
Did I say I was at an Aikido dojo? Did I tell you this story?
You've told me about being in Aikido before.
Okay, but
not
in Germany, I
it
went.
didn't end with anyone dropping
okay,
trout
this is
walking
good.
around a
This
park.
is a good story. So this exactly, I think, illustrates the way Germany works. So I was at this Aikido. So I like Aikido.
Uh-huh.
My dad kind of introduced it to me when I was a kid. And
Did you flip someone out of their pants and they had to
I
walk
just
around
flipped
the
them,
park?
and those haka
They're like,
pants just
"Hey,
flew
man,
off.
Give me those pants.
And they
back."
were like, this is the dream I had. Yeah.
You're like, see, everyone in Germany does this all the time.
Take that.
They're like, that's not
Welcome
true.
to Germany. We're in Sacramento. So in Germany when I was an exchange student. I was 19 years old, and I was like, oh, I wanted like things to do because I was just a young person. So I was like, oh, I found an Aikido dojo, and I was like,
Yeah.
sweet, I'll go do Aikido lessons. So I only went one time. Maybe because I got it was pretty far away from my house too. But
Sure.
it was also kind of weird because, I got there a little late, which is like not a good thing to do in Aikido.
Disrespect.
Like, you're not supposed to be late.
Disrespecting the
So
sensei.
I ran in, I run into the thing, and I just swap into my gi, and I run out and I stand in line. I just got in just in time to bow and be ready for class. It's like, oh, thank God. We do the whole little lesson, we're throwing people around, we're doing, grabbing people's wrists and stuff.
Redirecting momentum.
Yes. And then
And key.
everyone gets, sweaty and hot, and our gis are all like, and
Sure.
So then we go back and everyone starts, we split men on the right, women on the left.
Okay.
So we go in and the men go in the right and the women go in the left. And then we're like, people are like,
you're describing normal locker room culture.
yeah. And then we're like, all the guys like are undressing and like they're like put a towel around their waist and like are walking back to, I hear showers are in the back of the locker room.
Sure. Yeah.
So I hear that, and I see them putting like towels around their waists and walking to the back, and I think this is the same. Okay, the showers connect in the back between the women and the
Really?
men's locker room.
Interesting.
One showers.
Interesting.
So
this is Germany?
yeah.
Interesting.
So they're like ashamed to dress in front of each other and undress, but they're totally fine just being like wet seals together covered in soap with no walls.
I mean,
It was like
if you
totally mental.
sometimes the
For me.
taking off clothes process is the
Sort of
least
vulnerable.
it's the least sexy part of
Yeah.
like
It
you
wa-
contort your
yeah.
body into some of its least attractive shapes. You know what I mean?
I had Velcro
So
installed on
they've
all my
discovered
pants.
that
Just rip them off.
the offensive part is like when you're bending over to remove
Right.
your sock or
Right,
whatever,
Right.
and they're like, we'll just let everyone do that on their own.
Right.
And then when you're walking around normal style, you can show what you want.
Right. Right.
Interesting.
It was
Japan had
quite
some
mind-blowing.
unisex onsens where
Oh, really?
you would go in, but usually like you're covered up to your neck and you can't really see under the
'cause you're-
water
you're
stuff.
sitting
You're just kind of
underwater,
wandering
yeah,
around. But
yeah. This was
I didn't really go to a
showers.
lot of those
Yeah.
onsens. That's
This
interesting.
wasn't a little bit of a progressive part of the city. Like it was in the western side of Hamburg, which I can't remember.
And when
the
would
name
this
now,
have
but
been?
2004.
Wow. So this was, this was not like a recent, like we're trying a new thing.
No,
This is just like, this
German
is how it
culture. They just don't. But the interesting thing is like, it's not just like, I don't know, in America you might see like, oh, I'm in this environment that's like
Yeah.
all hyper progressive sort of low conscientiousness people, like, hippies sort of people. And then they're like, we're free about our bodies and they're naked and whatever. But in Germany, it would just be anyone. It
It's
would be
just a
like it would
non-issue.
be like a total conservative banker guy would just be like, naked, or a tall woman of whatever age would just be
That's
like
the part that
naked.
concerns me. You're just like, you come back to like the ultimate expression of freedom is like walking pantsless through the park. And I'm like, that sounds neither pleasant nor appropriate.
Oh, it sounds so pleasant. I love being naked. Maybe it's my German
Being
heritage.
naked sounds
but
good.
I love
Wearing
being
like, I'm imagining it because you've given me the
wearing a
suit,
shirt still,
like
but
a
no
suit, like the
pants.
button-up shirt, the tie, and the blazer, but just like pants off
No
and then like
pants.
dress shoes, like
Oh, with the dress shoes on?
just
Well,
wandering
I
around.
like Seinfeld's idea of belt with pockets when you're naked, because the only thing naked nudity's lacking is pockets.
It's true. You can't
Yeah.
carry a lot of stuff.
But here we are talking about Germanic culture with the Germanic calendar. And look at me promoting the Germanic calendar.
We're trying to move
Surprise,
away
surprise.
from that. We're moving to
No.
Norse.
That's the same. The
Germans
you can
did
call
use
it
the Norse one?
Germanic Norse. The Northern Germany, Norse. That was all one people.
Now I see where
The
I thought you were
northern-
spreading out. You were like pulling from the cool
Norse
things to
only.
the people of Iceland. No, you're still
just northern.
you're still Homer for
Dutch,
Germany.
German, yeah, like northern German, Danish.
Do the Scandinavian cultures have this as well?
No, they really kind of adopted the Julian calendar, and I think I think it makes sense because it's just even and smooth throughout the whole thing. But I think there's something to having like an unevenness.
When
at
I was
that
in
key time.
Japan, they were clinging. So the calendar was the same months, 12 months of the year, and they just have them. They name them by number. They just number them 1 through 12.
How boring!
January is just 1 month,
That's so
and then
boring.
February is 2 months, all the way to
Jesus,
12.
They have an opportunity there.
Well, they give them like fancy names because they give everything fancy names, but
Right.
like just everyone uses 1 month or 7 month or whatever.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is they will also say the year, but then they also have what you use as your more official year, which is the year of the emperor. They let you need to know your birth date, not just in like I was born in this year with the
Julian calendar,
19 such and such, but you're like or 2000. I was born 2000 such and such.
Yeah.
No, but and then you need to know. It's also Showa this year or Heisei this year or
The
like
emperor
whatever
year.
the reign of this emperor. We need to know
cool.
that it's Heisei 18. It's not just 2004 or whatever. So what would you do with Yule? Where would you go?
Well, I mean, I think it just would simplify everything for society.
But if everyone's
Christmas falls during Yule, the 25th.
Yeah.
It's actually like the height of Yule. It's like
so
the
does
peak
New Year's
of Yule.
Eve every
New
time.
Year's Eve,
for
right?
sure.
Solar New Year's.
But I'm saying
great.
if Yule is a thing, if Yule becomes a thing, where are you going to go and spend your Yule?
Oh, I mean, I just would probably do like a staycation. I'm like a homebody.
Right, because everywhere would be shut down, right? I mean,
well, no, people could decide. It's a free country. People could decide to like run during Yule and
run Yule
Yule's
specials.
our high season. We take a month off or we take a week off in the summer to counterbalance it or something.
Gotcha.
But all schools could be off, all, office jobs, banks could close, you could really shut down society and have it be focused on family.
That's what I'm saying. Like you wouldn't necessarily want to go somewhere if they're shut down and there's nothing to do there.
Well, if you say as a society, we're going to focus on family, there probably would still be a lot of restaurants who serve
nice,
that.
quiet
There'd be
Yule.
services that served families that would still stay open, like travel,
trampoline parks,
normal family outing go. But I mean, I personally am
I understand.
I'm personally somewhat, I'm a bit of a homebody, so I would just be like, wow, 10 days where no one will bother me. This is great. I'm going to stay
uninterrupted fortnight.
No, yeah. Well,
For 10
writing
days.
too. I've been writing a lot, so I'd write more.
That'd
I
be
love
fun.
writing.
Reading, catching up on stuff.
I'm
probably
writing,
doing
I'm
a
writing
lot.
a logic paper now.
I would want to do cooking experiments during Yule, of course, because
good idea.
you can. If it doesn't quite turn out right, you can always just kind of package it and give it to other people.
Yeah, throw it in the fire and be like,
"Here you
Yule
go."
log.
Yule log, burn it.
Burn it. Oh, you could package up and give it to people. Yeah,
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be like,
Here's
here
some
you go,
burnt
enjoy
cookies.
this. Depending on how good the person, like how good it turns out, you give it to that level of you save the better versions for your better friends.
So if this comes out in mid-December, everyone should get prepared for Yule. December 21st to the 1st.
Well, you've got to make this app for everybody.
I mean, somebody does.
How are we going to tell people when it's Yule?
Our podcast is becoming a great source for new ideas for people to do.
It always has been.
It's great.
Of course.
Yeah. I guess you're right. That's the premise of the podcast. New ideas. But you can't always do them.
Ideas.
Can't always do them. But this one you could totally make an app.
Totally.
It would be so easy.
The Norse calendar app.
And it could show the phase of the moon, and it could show the pathway of the sun. So
I'll be honest.
You could see it sync up, the moon, the sun, all in one screen. It'd be beautiful.
I'll be honest. I'll probably be a late adopter. I'll have to wait until like 93% of the world has.
You're the only
switched over.
person in the world besides me who knows this, and you would be a late adopter.
I feel like because I've just it takes me so long. It takes me so long to memorize a bunch of different new months and where they start.
It don't be
and
the
stuff.
same months.
I'm terrible
and then you
at
just look at your
scheduling anyway.
calendar. Oh, you know what we could make as a calendar, like a Google calendar for it too.
I'm just
so people
barely
could start
getting-
moving.
I'm just
everything
barely
over to
getting
it.
the Julian calendar now.
just barely.
Just barely now.
Just
I feel like
barely.
I'm starting to get it.
You're just starting to get it.
Yeah,
Well, you
and
just
you're gonna
learned
take this away
that
from
it's
me?
called the Julian calendar. I mean, did you know that it was?
No, I've
called
been throwing that
Okay,
around like
okay.
it's been something I use all the time.
But do
no.
you know? Oh yeah. It used to be the Gregorian calendar. That was what the Julian calendar part of what the Julian calendar
Well, how was it
fixed.
different?
The Roman calendar was called the
60-day?
Republic calendar. No, that was called the Republic calendar. The Gregorian.
People love their
Gregorian.
calendars.
The Gregorian calendar is the calendar used in most parts of the world. It went into effect in October 1582. Oh, as a modification of, a replacement for the Julian calendar. Okay, and it included leap years. So sorry, we are in the Gregorian calendar,
Okay.
but it's very similar to the Julian calendar except for leap years.
Gregorian doesn't even get the credit for it usually.
So there's been improvements. So here's the whole point. Over time, there are improvements to the calendar. We have become an advanced technological civilization, and we haven't made an improvement. I think this is the
The
improvement.
Gregorian calendar almost had us all doomed to Y2K. I mean,
God damn.
we need to switch up the calendar. I'm for it.
You're blaming Y2K on the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. I'm with you. I mean,
Right?
it's not true, but I'm with you in spirit.
Well, if we counted years different, we'd,
It would be different.
we'd start over. We got another 2,000
You're
years
totally
before we have
right.
to worry again.
Why would we not do that? So the idea though is this puts us as a spacefaring civilization calendar. That's what this is.
Okay.
Because Yule is based on
Space?
Terra's specific relationship to Luna and Sol in our system.
Meaning if
our
you go
solar
to a
system.
different planet, your calendar would
Calendar
be
would
different.
be different because it'd be based on that
Huh.
calendar, the calendar of that planet.
Interesting. Well, then we'd have to have some
Yes.
sort of a calendar translation.
There would be some galactic calendar. Yeah, there'd be some intergalactic.
Well, we got to figure out
calendar.
intergalactic travel first, but then
I'm pretty
the
sure we
calendar
could do it,
problem
yeah.
is number 2, right?
Yeah,
Number 2 on our priority list.
you're right. Intergalactic calendars, future episode.
Yes.
Well, thanks everybody for listening up to this wackadoo holiday season episode.
Enjoy your Yule wherever you
Enjoy
may
Yule.
be, and come back next week for another episode from us.
Yeah, take care. Merry Christmas. Oh, I said it. Bad.
Don't
Happy holidays.
big Yule,
Happy
everybody.
Yule. Big Yule. Oh, that's good. Have a big Yule.
Big Yule, everyone.
Hey, have a big Yule. Bye. everyone.
Later.